Come on, Bella, let's play football. Ready?
Allez, bravo, joue.
You.
Football, allez, joue, allez.
What's she walking good? Oh my God, 10 months old.
Ballon, coupe. Ballon.
Wow.
Hey, faut que le ballon là. Donc, regarde.
Come on, go kick it. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, kick it. Football. Wow.
Allez, bravo, joue.
Wow, 10 months old. Oh, she's gonna fall. Yeah, wow. Bravo. Wow, I can't believe that. 10 months old, walking. So good. So we got guys putting on the roof. So if you notice here in Cote d'Ivoire, they have these brick buildings and then they put on these metal roofs, which cuts down on the cost of building material. Also, I think it's probably pretty capable. Rex, come on, let's go this way. Let's go. So I had a viewer reach out and ask me why I haven't been making videos, and just recently I was all of us got sick with malaria. So man, malaria is something else. It really took me a couple weeks to get over it, and even my daughter got sick with malaria, even though we take every precaution we can. So she got sick and there was no symptoms. So thank God Michelle's such a good mom that she recognized that her poop had changed color, which was the only symptom. She was acting fine and eating fine. But when I got the malaria, and listen, I took the malaria medication, preventive measures, and I try to, use mosquito spray. We have a bug zapper. We sleep under a mosquito net. I do everything I can, but even so, that's why I'm telling you, no matter what you do, eventually, and a lot of guys, a lot of friends here have said, "Oh, yeah, there's no mosquitoes where I'm at." But honestly, mosquitoes, they're so small, sometimes you don't even notice them, and you're gonna get malaria. So it's not a matter of when or if; it's just a matter of when. So anyway, I took a little break from making videos. So I just want to. I always laugh when I see a lot of videos online where people are saying that when black women wear wigs that they hate themselves or they have some kind of self-hatred. I understand. I think that's more so an American thing. Over here, a lot of women wear wigs, and it's honestly, it doesn't look bad most of the time unless it's really cheap hair. So here is a real African woman.
Yeah.
Okay, you're African. Are you black or African? Which one are you?
I am African.
You're not black?
I'm black too. Black? Wow.
Let me see your natural hair. And this is your natural hair.
Natural hair.
So why do you not? Do you hate being black? Do you hate yourself?
No.
Okay, exactly. Because a lot of people in America, they think, oh, black women who wear wigs hate themselves. You don't hate your hair, right?
No,
it's just your natural hair.
Natural.
But it's hard to do something with, right? To make nice, you have to make iron. You have to make many work.
Yeah, this is many work.
Yeah, and your hair is nice. You haven't had too many braids. You're not going bald like a lot of African women go bald because they constantly make their hair tight, and then you see when they got their hair way back here. But you don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so put your wig on. Let's see.
Okay, now.
You're gonna go to work. You're professional. You work for the country of Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go to work. You don't want to go like this because it looks.
People look at me. Ooh.
Well, because you say it looks unprofessional. This is something in the village or something like that.
Think I don't have money. I'm poor.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not clean.
Yeah, because you go and inspect restaurants and
yes.
You work as a veterinarian for Cote d'Ivoire Health Food Inspector.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go looking just any kind of way. There's nothing wrong with your hair. You don't hate yourself.
I know.
Exactly. Okay, so let's. No, I always make fun of these wigs, but honestly, okay, so let's make the transformation.
Transformation.
Okay, yeah.
Transformation.
I call this the hair hat.
Yes. Chapeau.
Yeah.
For her. Fake her. Yeah, when I put it, I'm big. People think now, she clean.
Okay, put it on.
Money. Yeah.
Well, we don't have a lot of money, but
small money.
Yeah.
No, we're not poor, but you have small money. Now my look. Oh.
How much does hair cost?
This.
Yeah.
$100.
100 USD?
Yeah.
Wow.
100 USD. Yes, natural. Yeah.
Is that white people hair? Where
No,
do you
this
get
is not expensive. Expensive, $1,000.
that? Yeah, we're not paying that.
Yes. See, look at. See. Okay, 1 minute. I want to see. Yeah, look at. Yeah, this for. Take my hair.
Oh, okay. Grab your
I have
nappy
5
hair.
or 4. Okay. No, see. Yeah.
You want to be white?
No white but Africa girl, but no white Africa girl, but Africa.
I know. I'm just saying because a lot of people in America they make fun of these wigs, but honestly, it doesn't look bad most of the time.
Fake hair.
I mean, it doesn't look totally natural, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear hats. I'm bald.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, it's a mixed difference. So then you go to work like that, and everything's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not
But
bad.
1 minute. When I make inspection, I protect my hair. No hair.
Yeah, you put this up.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks fine.
Okay.
Looks fine to me.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. He's African.
African.
A lot of
black.
African people do this. And they don't hate themselves. This is this myth that just because, but you also, what I like is you don't wear fake nails.
Yeah.
You
No
don't do.
fake nail.
Yeah, we're not trying to dress like a whore. Okay, let me see your outfit.
My dress.
Yeah.
I like sexy clothes.
Well, because we had a baby 10 months ago, so you gained a lot of weight.
Yeah, I
I
gained
know.
10 kilo. 10 kilo.
Just say.
10 kilo.
You gained 10 kilos?
Yeah, I get 10 kilo.
When I got here a couple years ago, you were skinny. And then make baby.
I make 58, 60 kilogram now. I make 17. Yes, 770 kilogram now. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We have Mama, there's Rex. So anyway, I want to say that one of the drawbacks about being an expat and living out here is just like anybody living in another country, eventually you sort of get burnt out. It's been 2 years now since I've been to the States, and I'm really missing food. I try to cook from scratch and try to make food here, but honestly, it's just there's nothing that beats American food. Rex, let's go this way. So what I'm gonna do is I think I might make a new sort of a schedule, and I think maybe once a year I'm gonna have to go back to the States just to recharge my batteries. And also here coming up in Cote D'ivoire, if anyone doesn't know, Alassane Ouattara, I hope I'm saying that right, is the president here, and he's already served 2 terms. And he's seeking a 3rd term, which is, I guess it was some kind of amendment to the Constitution. They used a legal loophole, and a lot of people are now starting to get
Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara has announced he will run for president again in October, despite having already been president for 2 terms, the legal maximum. His declaration follows the death of Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly from a heart attack last month. Coulibaly had been seen as Ouattara's anointed successor. Faced with this case of force majeure and out of civic duty, I have decided to respond favourably to the call of my fellow citizens asking me to be a candidate in the presidential election of the 31st of October 2020. I am therefore announcing I am a candidate in the presidential election. A sometimes controversial figure, Ouattara sacked his government in a row over a new marriage law that would make wives joint heads of the household in 2012. He was elected in 2010, but previous incumbent Laurent Gbagbo refused to step down and was eventually arrested. Ouattara had been recognised as the winner by the African Union.
Now, there hasn't been any political unrest here in Cote d'Ivoire so far, nothing of note. I know you've seen a lot of videos where people are talking about coups and things like that. There's nothing like that going on. And Michelle works for the government. She's in that area in Du Plateau. to Plateau, and there's been nothing. So there's a lot of fake news out there. However, there are rumors, or a lot of people are preparing for some political unrest, and I think it's generally safe for expats and especially Americans and anybody foreigner coming here. I think it's pretty safe. Even if something were to pop off, a coup or something like that. And I'm out in the outskirts of Bingerville, which is about 30 minutes from downtown in that area. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to fly back here in a few months to California, visit friends, eat some food for a couple months. I'm working on getting Bella her American citizenship, so we'll have that done. And I think, you know, during things like this, women and children are pretty safe. And if I'm here, there's probably not a lot I can do to protect them anyway. So what I'm going to do is just, her family, Michelle's family is going to rally. They're all going to come back to Inyama and Bingerville, stock up on food and water, just in case something happens. And then that way, if something were to really pop off, you know, I'll just be out of the country for that, and I'll come back after the elections. You know, just as a precaution, I predict that nothing's going to happen, but it is concerning, to say the least, that the president is trying to seek a third term. When, you know, a lot of people don't like that. When you start gaining enemies whenever you start doing stuff like that. And the will of the people, they start getting a little bit upset that you're pushing or finding loopholes, because no one's going to, you know, be popular forever. And I'm sure he did a lot of good, but I think now it's time for a change. And now, like I said, it's relatively safe. I'm out here in Bingerville, but, you know, being a foreigner, and especially if there's a lot of you know, economic things going on, people will see a white guy and they'll think I'm rich. It could leave me open for, you know, crime. I've already had one home invasion since I've been here. So being a white guy, I think I'm just going to duck out. Now, one of the viewers asked me, hey, what's it like dating Ivorian women? And I have, you know, I've been with Michelle for 3 years now, going on 3 years. Everything's fine. We have a baby, as you know, and Bella's healthy, happy, and you know, we don't have any problems. Everyone here is, come here. Rex came up on another dog, and so we had a little bit of a scuffle. So, yeah, so I think I'm going to be, I have some torn feelings about leaving, because I feel like I'm leaving my family, but Michelle has a big family. They've been here all their whole lives, are Ivorian, and she feels pretty confident that everything's going to be okay. So it'll give me a chance to go back. Also, because import fees here are so high, like I want to get a PlayStation 5, because I game a lot, and so I think while I'm back in the States I can get it a lot cheaper. I mean, here you almost pay almost $1,000 for a PS5. So if I go home I can get one for $300 or $400, and I can just bring it back, because you're allowed to bring personal computers and things like that, as long as it's just one. I'll probably do a little shopping. I'm gonna go see my friends up in Sacramento and Redding, and just to kind of recharge my batteries. So I think I'm gonna start doing that like once a year. You know, just like anybody else, you know, when you go to a different country, you know, it's such a change. And listen, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't like African food. I mean, I know that there's some good food here, and I'm way far away from. I'm like an hour away from Zone 4. There are restaurants there, I know, but you know, I'm on a budget. I'm retired. I can't afford to eat out a lot. So I really miss food. That's the biggest thing. Now, as far as dating Ivorian, listen, I know that Africa is not like the #1 destination to go and find a woman, but listen, I'm telling you, man, I don't know why guys don't consider coming over here more, because there are so many, the culture is so traditional that at least as a Caucasian, as a white man, you can come here and easily find a woman that is going to be a great spouse. I have met several. I mean, I had a lot of options coming here, and dating younger women. Michelle's 20 years younger than I am. So if you're older, retired, just like Philippines and Asia, Rex, come here. You know, I don't know why guys think they have to go out and get the most beautiful woman. You don't, I mean, honestly, it seems like the more I meet other expats, and it seems like the most stable relationships you can have is when you get a more plain, traditional woman, and not someone who dresses like a whore, someone who's, you know, hey, Rex, partying. There, you have so many options here, and I seem to see, and in my own life, it's better just to get you a plain Jane type of woman that is more traditional. And also because if you're making American dollars and you're living here, you're going to be living up in the top 5%. Even with my mediocre retirement military, I make plenty enough to live here and be okay. Now, I'm not making a lot of money. And the problem is when you see this, like I'm out in Bingerville, which is not a lot of expats. I met a few, but they're mostly all packed over in Zone 4. And then there you're going to be paying California prices for rent and food and things like that, and things that you want to do. And it kind of defeats the purpose of going out and living it. So I don't live like a local, obviously. I don't like African food. I don't like food too. Atiki's okay. But the chicken here, the quality meat is not that good. Like I've tried going and getting meat and beef at the store, and you cook it and it's tough as shit. I think they slaughter older animals, so you're not going to get any kind of Kobe beef here unless you go to Zone 4, and I think maybe you could find. But I even went to a sushi place, and even the tuna and the fish that you get it just wasn't that good. And I've ate at nicer restaurants, and even there, the meat didn't taste good quality. You cannot beat the quality of meat that you get in America. So even if you cook from scratch, even if you use the local flour, the local ingredients, it just doesn't taste the same. Now, I don't know if it's because there's no, you know, there isn't an over, what do you call it? You know, you don't have these over-enriched breads and things like that. And you don't have all the chemicals pumped in it. So maybe it just doesn't taste as good. So I'm just burnt out. I really need some food. And also, you know, there's always the malaria. There's always typhoid. You know, I'm living near the equator. So when you're living, you're going to have all these tropical diseases. Like there's been so many times I've been sick. I probably had something that didn't agree with me. And just, you know, being with different bacteria and different viruses, I've been sick quite a few times. And that's another reason why I don't eat out a lot, because I've had food poisoning so many times. And it's probably not, and look, I don't think Michelle's been sick one time, because she's Ivorian. Her stomach is acclimated to this stuff, whereas my stomach is more sensitive. And so it creates this little bit of a fear for me to go out and eat a lot. Or even coming outside, you know, it's always warm. There aren't as many restrictions on restaurants and things like that to be clean. It's not, I've seen, even Michelle just went out to a fishery, and they've had an epidemic of people that are selling fish in the market, where they spray poison directly on the fish, trying to get rid of flies and things like that, and they end up poisoning the food, and many people got sick. So there's a health problem here where people are uneducated. They sell local foods. You can't trust it. So you got to be very, very careful about what you buy and where you buy it from. Even if you're buying from a secondhand vendor, you don't know where they got their meat, you don't know where they got their fish, and you got these people like Michelle just went out. I mean, they were going to throw this woman in jail, apparently. It's just spraying poison right on the fish. So I don't trust going out. That's one of the downsides about living outside of America in a third world, underdeveloped. I don't want to say non-developed, it's developed here. Certainly it's a modern place. And of course I'm dealing with power outages and things like that on a daily basis. It's not that bad. You know, they have Orange here, which is the company for Rex. So I guess out walking Rex, so I didn't take him out on a leash today. So you got these little restaurants, these little shacks that you open up here. You go and get food. I don't eat at those places. Michelle eats and she's fine. A lot of people build these little shacks. So this is, I guess this is like a rural area, but this is just a housing development where I live. So yeah, it's yeah. So I'm ready. I'm ready for a visit to America. If you're single and you come out here, and as long as you stay out of Zone 4, I demonize Zone 4. I do not. Although I would be more comfortable there, I would be probably, it'd be close, more of a home feeling if I was in Zone 4. But then when you go out there, if you're single and you live in Zone 4, all you're going to meet is modern women. Listen, no matter where you go, all the women are the same. If you try to hang out in those expat areas, you're just going to meet whores with high body counts. You're not going to meet a good woman in that area, or they're going to be used to having foreigner boy. See, that's the thing. I've made other videos about it, where women, they get used to being. They're not necessarily traditional prostitutes, but you know, they're used to having foreigner boyfriends that come down, because a lot of these companies that employ foreigners that come in here, they make a lot of money, because this is considered like a hardship type of environment that not too many people want to go live at. So they give them premium pay, and then you've always got these fucking simps that come out and will blow money on these women. So if you're in Zone 4, you're gonna have a harder time trying to date. They're gonna expect a lot out of you. They're gonna want you to spend a lot of money. I'm not doing that. I was very fortunate meeting Michelle, because she's from a poor village. She's satisfied with having an upgrade in her life from me being here, but I certainly don't leave with my wallet. That's the thing. When you come here, you can't leave with your wallet. But I've been to a few clubs and in Zone 4, and you'll meet these women that right off the bat, they'll expect. It'll be no different than trying to date an American woman. I just can't imagine. I have a strong dislike for simps and guys that leave with a wallet. They really do a disservice to these women. I don't hate women, but at the same time, I don't trust them, and you gotta be careful. But if you come out here to the rural areas, you will easily find a woman. I know that's not everybody's goal, but that was my goal coming to Africa, to start a family. So anyway, I'm repeating myself a lot. Come on, Rex, let's go. Rex. So everyone stares at me when I'm out here. So anyway, I've met, shout out to Jeremy and Marcel, if you guys are watching. I've met 2 expats that are married to Ivorian women, and they have families, and they're real close to me. So I'm starting to meet more people, and so it's been kind of nice, but I'm still feeling pretty isolated. So anyway, that's the video. I just wanted to throw it together real quick, because one of my viewers had asked me to, hey, you stop making videos. This, like I said before, I haven't, this channel hasn't panned out the way I thought it was going to. I was going to go out and start, traveling, and I'm still going to do that eventually. I'm here for the long run, so I'm not going to go anywhere other than visit back to America, which is going to be great. I can't wait. But, it's just, I'm having Bella and having, a 10-month-old. I don't like to leave her for very long. So, and if I go out, I'll be by myself. So I don't have anybody to translate for me, although that's not really a problem. But eventually I'll start going out and seeing some more sites eventually. I know I keep saying that, but having a baby is really, I'm kind of on the parental grind right now, where I'm spending a lot of time at home, and it gets a little boring, but it's just part of parenthood. And because babies require so much attention. We have a housemaid, and we have Michelle's mom staying with us, and so she's like the nanny, but I like to stay there and supervise, because I would feel guilty leaving her unsupervised. Even with Michelle's mother's great, by the way. I mean, she's raised a lot of kids. She's great with Bella. I'm so fortunate. And that's the other thing, when you find a woman, definitely, a lot of guys especially in the Philippines, they complain that these families will beg their white husband or their foreigner husband to pay for the family. I don't do all that. I do pay her mom a little bit of money to stay with us, but you know, she lives in a nicer house. She can come down and relax. She's got her own bedroom, so we don't pay very much. I think for total, I pay for childcare and having a full-time Michelle's mom and Nunu, like $200 USD. I mean, that's for total. And of course I buy the food, but they won't touch. I try to cook American food for them. They don't like it. They only eat futu every day and atiki, and it's very cheap. They can just go to the Africa market. So it's very cost effective. And Michelle's family is so great. And they don't have this expectation of me to, you know, support their family. And I couldn't do that anyway, so it doesn't matter. So it's just nice. I think that's one difference between here and the Philippines. There isn't this expectation because they're not used to Americans that much. There are, I mean, very few Americans here. I still have yet to only meet maybe like one, and he's a pastor. Oh, shout out to Kevin. Kevin, he's a pastor, and he's here with his wife. He's a pastor at a church, and he spreads the gospel here in Cote d'Ivoire. So he does a lot of good and a lot of volunteer work and things like that, help the community, which is great on him. And I think even he's going to leave for the elections. So anyway, that's the video. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you on the next one.